The Team Never Quit podcast is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy Federal Credit Union serves all branches of the armed forces. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
Are you from Round Rock?
No, I'm from Pennsylvania, and then came down to Texas when I got stationed at Fort Hood.
Yeah.
And then
You're in the hood, huh?
I was in Hood, yeah. And then
you're tough.
business grew when I was in South Korea, and then my brother moved down to from Pennsylvania to Texas to start the business or scale the business. Then we just ended up getting stuck here. But there's no way I'm ever going back to Pennsylvania.
You can't get stuck.
You're not
in
really
Texas,
stuck
man.
in Texas,
That's
bro.
more
You're
of a
just like
blessing to be here. We have you down. We're at Pennsylvania.
Central, Hershey area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. That we watched a documentary on y'all's town and the factory
on the TV.
Yeah, on the TV. Is that what I said?
I'm finishing it for you. Look like you're struggling.
Thank you. I was struggling a little bit. Man, that it's a great town. There's a lot of history there.
Yeah. Well, I'm not from Hershey, actually. I'm from a small town next to Hershey.
Yeah, and you said Hershey. I was like,
no, I'm from the town called Palmyra, and then I went out to school out in the Pittsburgh area.
are you a Steelers fan?
No, I mean, no, I'm not a Steelers fan.
I mean, it's not. Don't worry, this isn't starting out wrong, man. Because I know some people there that they live there, and it can go either way. I heard of a guy one time. He was buried in his fan gear in his recliner, and he's buried in it, sitting in the grave on that sucker.
Yeah, Pittsburgh fans are diehard.
Diehards.
Steelers, Pens, like I don't know where I went to school. I mean, we were 45 minutes away from Pittsburgh, but like Penguins fans, diehard.
Oh.
Different breeds of human being. That's cool.
Oh man, that's something.
We don't have hockey down
That
here.
terrible towel comes out, bro. I put one on Rigby one time. He walked out on stage. Remember that?
Yep.
It was cool. All right, go ahead.
All right, let's do this, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. What's going on, guys?
I think you need to mix the intro.
This is mixing it up, man.
All right.
You just don't listen every week.
You're right. I don't, because I'm part of the show.
All right. Morgan's turn to do an intro.
All right. Ask the question.
What's going on? Let's kick this thing
I'm
off.
ready.
Let's kick it off with an icebreaker. Fountain of youth or wishing well, and why?
Oh, youth. Yeah, because you keep going back. It's like making a wish.
No. That's not how that works. You drink out of the fountain, you stay right where you're at. You ain't going back anywhere.
Not true, because once you get there, then you start learning again, which is basically like redoing it. And then you can go back to the well and keep going. Right?
No, that's not even.
You have a morbid way of looking at things, man. You're always in the negative. I'm trying to, what are you going to do?
You're like talking about time travel and shit.
Isn't that what that is?
No, when you drink out of the fountain of youth, that's it. You stop.
You're just young.
You don't get you just fountain of youth. You just stay put.
Who told you that?
Who told you the other way?
Well, I hadn't read the directions. I didn't know they were posted. I'm just saying, I like the way I was thinking about it.
Nick, what about you, man?
I'm gonna go Fountain of Youth. I was stronger as I was younger. I enjoyed a lot of my younger childhood. I learned a lot, so I'd say Fountain of Youth.
Okay, that's a great. I hadn't thought about it like that, but since you brought it up, does the Fountain of Youth actually stall you where you're at,
or does it make you younger?
What if you're older? Then there's not really youth to that, or does it keep you at the youth that you're at, or does it make you younger?
So there you go. Right. What is it? I mean,
or is that the whole concept about when you go to the Fountain of Youth, when you drink it keeps you where you're at in the same?
I think it keeps you where you're at.
Right.
From my understanding.
But what if you're not?
So if you go in there at 24 and drink out of the Fountain of Youth, you're 24.
I agree. I understand completely what you're saying.
But it's not Fountain of Grandpa's. It's Fountain of Youth. So
Right.
even if you're older, wouldn't the Fountain of Youth
Well, how far is it going to take you back?
take you back
to where?
My point. That's what I was asking.
Like infancy?
It is a trick question.
Because you could
I'm
exactly.
I'm
How
go-
far-
well, so
who
I'm-
sets the limits on how far that damn thing takes you back?
I'm going with the wishing well because
All right.
I wish I was 24 again.
So you just take yourself back.
That's
to
your
that
age you want to be at? 24?
Oh yeah.
What about you?
What age would I want to go back to? Man, I'd go back to I think 24 was actually a pretty good year for me. That was like right when I was kicking off my business. And that was a time where like I look back then and around that age I was transitioning out of the military And starting a business, I describe as it felt like it was Christmas every single morning because I was just getting started. I had a small team. I was lean. I was trying to figure these things out. There was so much passion behind it. Like that was prime time for me.
Yeah, 24. That's like most aggressive year of your life.
Yeah, that's
in my
the
opinion.
stepping off period right there, right?
You
Well,
gotta-
for a lot of
It's like catching lightning in a bottle every day. When you say it's like Christmas every day, it is. Like when you go into something brand new and there's a new squad in there and they all want to be there. So you not only look forward to being with them, but doing that job, that's what drags you out of bed. There's an excitement to that.
See,
Absolutely.
but you guys can't go there because y'all chose the Fountain of Youth and y'all fucked it up. What'd you say?
Ah.
That's not an
It's not
answer.
an answer.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
That's not an answer
That's a
either.
good question.
Hey, who's your
Good
producer
question.
on the other side? We're not seeing.
we got Ryan Thiel over here on the other side.
Ryan,
What's
the
he say,
answer?
Ryan?
Ryan got an answer for us.
Well, Ryan is younger. I think Ryan is around 24 years old.
Oh, you don't
so-
give him a microphone? We need to.
No,
take-
he's not. Well, he's got a microphone. I can talk to him, but you guys can't hear him.
Okay.
But he's still plugged into that youth right now.
Don't spoil it.
20. I thought 27 was a good one. 33 is pretty good.
Yeah, 24. All right.
All right.
moving on.
Great question. Great question. If you want to ask your questions, check us out. Patreon.com/Team Never Quit. You can get exclusive access to behind the scenes content. You can get some cool swag in the mail, and you can ask your questions to the guests. Make sure you guys check that out. We've also got some great new merch in the shop, shop.teamneverquit.com. We have got a great guest in store for you guys. Nick Bear is the founder and CEO of Bear Performance Nutrition, a sports performance and health supplement company based out of Central Texas. He graduated from the Indiana University of Pennsylvania in 2013 with a degree in nutrition before commissioning into the U.S. Army as an infantry platoon leader. I can speak. After transitioning out of the military.
You were doing that so well too,
I was
man.
doing-
It
I was
like
doing- it
vibing.
was good, right? It was good.
So I think when that happens, like when you stutter step like that,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should shift to the voice.
This summer, Nick
You know what I mean?
Bear
Because then it just covers it up.
is a
Like,
true fitness enthusiast.
I think you should go with that.
Yeah,
It's a great cover
that's where I
because
cover.
people were like, I was going to come at you like, man, you almost had it. And then they're like, oh, all right.
It was
nice,
close.
nice job,
It was
dude.
really close.
Right?
Sounds like a plug-in right there. Is that your voice?
That's what I'm
or that-
talking about,
That's
man.
all
And then
me.
like they
He's
really
legit.
start paying attention when you lock that voice down.
You should just hold that character all the time.
No shit. Hey, we tell him that.
It is hard. I tried.
Hey, what are you, pussy or something?
No. Nick,
Thank you.
can't do it. Can't do it. Nick is a true fitness enthusiast where he trains for triathlons, marathons, strength and ultra distance races. Nick documents his training, business growth, and the Go One More mindset online to inspire, educate, and motivate others. Nick, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Ooh, laser beam.
Man, I got to tell you that the guests that we have on here, and then the people that I run into, when you hear about their progression, like from college to into the military and then starting their business and up and then hearing the ins and outs of it is one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite concepts, man. So I'm looking forward. Thanks for coming on here and doing this.
No, thank you. It's a burning journey, from like, and just put it on paper and surface value. It's been so many highs and lows, ups and downs. I've learned so much of the process, but it's been amazingly rewarding.
Well, that gets left out a lot of times. I mean, you can go to these events, and I remember when we were kids coming up, and you would run across the dads who were those heavy businessmen, like the suit and tie guys. Like, man, they work for some corporate stuff. Like they do this, and you would hear that persona about them. And then when we rotated back to the world and starting our own businesses, it's like just to hear the progression is amazing to watch. But it's the ins and outs, it's the middle of that's the best part, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, when I grew up, my grandfather, he was a dairy farmer in central Pennsylvania. So, I mean, he knew hard work, waking up early to milk the cows and then evening milking the cows and working the fields and emotions being run off of, the weather. And then my dad experienced that growing up working with my granddad. And then when I went to start my business in 2012, I told my dad, I said, I'm going to take out this loan. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to make $1 million first year. And he laughed in my face and he said, if it was that easy, everyone would do it. I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And those first 3 years sucked. I mean, year one, we did $20,000 in revenue at a loss. Year two, $20,000 revenue at a loss. Year three, $20,000 revenue at a loss. And I was like, shit, when are we going to break past $20,000 in revenue? And now we have on the wall in our HQ, it says, if it were that easy, everyone would do it. Because I vividly remember the day my dad pointed at me and laughed in my face and said that.
Yeah.
we had a guest on the show a while back that business minded like you. With he brought a very valid point out that most people, I don't know, that they kind of skirt around it. Is like, I literally gave, we mortgaged the house, we gave every single thing in existence to that business. And when I did that, I never worked as hard in my entire life to make sure that it was successful. That same mentality you had?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't take a paycheck from the business for 5 years after starting it. And then, so I remember when I started the business a year before joining the military. So I started the business when I was in college between my junior and senior year. And the way I started it was I was in the Army ROTC program. And at the time they offered this, they called it a pre-commissioning loan. So it was up to $25,000. And all my peers were like taking out this loan, and they were getting engagement rings. They were getting new cars. They were going on vacations. And I was like, holy shit, this is my golden ticket to launching a company. So I made this business plan. I had to present it to my professor of military science, who was a lieutenant colonel, and he approved up to $20,000. So I took $20,000 out with the USAA, and I didn't have to make payments. I didn't have to make payments for the first 18 months at like a super low interest rate. So I spent all that money on the inventory, all 20,000. So I had to be really scrappy and resourceful to create any sort of marketing buzz or build a website and do graphic design stuff. Didn't take any money from the business the first 5 years. When I went on active duty, then I started like a Roth IRA because everyone was like, hey, you got to start this Roth IRA. Built that up over, a couple of years, liquidated that, built it back up, liquidated that, kept cashing it out. And then when my brother joined the business, so when me and my brother were younger, my dad started investment accounts for both me and my brother. He put $50 in each account each month. And my account, for some reason over the years, just performed horribly. There was like nothing in it. My brother's had like $30,000 in it. So my brother started working for the company.
So he's the favorite brother. Is that what you're saying?
He is. I said, I need that $30,000. And he liquidated that account and he kept the business going. But along the way, I mean, for years, it was just, where can we pull money from to keep this thing afloat?
So back that up, man. I mean, you come off a dairy farm. That's in your line? It was either be a dairy farmer or do what?
So when I was younger, the plan was I wasn't going to do the dairy farm route. I was going to be a chicken farmer. So
yeah.
And so like central Pennsylvania, there were all these massive chicken houses going up, single story and like double decker chicken houses. So my grandfather said, like, this is the way you're going to make money in the future. You've got to invest in these chicken houses, get a deal with like Tyson or Purdue. And he's like, after 6 years, you'll start making some money after, you take these loans out. So that was the original plan, was I was going to be a chicken farmer. And then when I was in high school, I graduated high school 2009, and around 2007, 2008, I watched my cousin. My cousin's name was Matt. He was in the 101st. I saw him going back and forth from deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. And I saw the way he was changing from, this boy to this man, and kind of the respect and honor he was gaining through these values. And I said, well, shit, I want that in my life, just by watching my cousin Matt.
Let's take a second to thank our sponsors over at Omaha Steaks, man. 2 days ago, well, was it 2 days ago? Yeah, it was 2 days ago. I think it was over the weekend. I finally made those Omaha Steaks hot dogs. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That was some of the fattest hot dogs I've ever had. They were freaking amazing. They were super delicious. Didn't take no time to cook, and they were the best hot dogs I've ever eaten. If you're looking for a little gift-giving wisdom from Omaha Steaks, dads want steaks. Bottom line, with Father's Day around the corner, there isn't a better gift than Omaha Steaks. You can visit omahasteaks.com, type T&Q up in the search bar, and order the Dads Want Steaks package. For just $99, this limited time package will include 16 mouth-watering entrees that he's guaranteed to love, like their smoky, tender bacon wrap filet mignons. Oh, those were good. Those gourmet jumbo franks, and their air-chilled boneless chicken breast, which I think that's what's on the menu for dinner tonight. And for a sweet finish, delicious caramel apple tartlets. Man, I'm getting hungry thinking about it. Those apple tartlets are are something special. And as a special gift for our listeners, when you type T&Q up in the search bar and you order the Dads Want Steaks package, you're also going to get 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers. These burgers are full of bold, beefy flavor made from 100% Omaha steaks, and now they're bigger than ever at a whopping 6 ounces. Giant hamburgers, and they're delicious. Don't wait. Send Dad more than just a gift. Send him an experience that he'll love and he can share with you. I'm sure he's heard of them. Everyone's heard of Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com and type T&Q into the search bar and order the Dads Want Steaks package. You'll get 16 entrees and 4 desserts plus 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers. Omaha Steaks isn't just steak. It is the best steak of your life, guaranteed. That's omahasteaks.com. Make sure you type in T&Q up in the search bar and order that awesome Dads Want Steaks package.
So I applied for this Army ROTC scholarship, got this scholarship that allowed me then to go to school in Western Pennsylvania at the school called IUP on a scholarship. So I went through school and then commissioned.
Just in case nobody else is paying attention here, he said he went to the Indiana University in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I wish they would change the name. They're talking about changing the name to Western University of Pennsylvania.
Vermont.
It fucks up everyone because there's no affiliation with Indiana University. It's in this town of Indiana in Pennsylvania. So every time I say I went to IUP, they think it's IUPUI. Completely no affiliation whatsoever.
I thought it was a typo when we were looking you up. Like, hey,
it's a small school. The thing is that I tried going to Penn State University. I wanted to go to South Carolina University. I didn't get into any of these schools. And I knew that if I didn't get into any of these schools, IUP was a shoo-in. So I went IUP.
And they had a ROTC program?
They did. They had a pretty good ROTC program.
You commissioned out of school, right? You're straight in?
Yep. Yeah, I commissioned out of school. 2013, I commissioned.
Dude, I was getting out of the Navy in 2013. Woo!
All right.
So bro came down and stepped up, man. Took the company, and you guys still work together?
Yeah, he's our COO. So it was 2016. My unit went to South Korea for a 9-month rotation. And
what season?
What season?
Was it cold?
Yeah, we got down there in February. So it was cold.
February? Oh, yeah. It was coming out of it. Well, no, February, March.
What was it like?
I mean, I remember it being cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, I remember it being real cold.
Yeah.
And when I was in South Korea, the business started growing, and he packed up. So at the time, he was fulfilling all the orders in his, at night out of our parents' this room in our parents' house. And he packed up this U-Haul truck, and all of our inventory at the time fit in the back of this U-Haul truck. And he drove that truck from Pennsylvania down to Texas. And then I was living in this town called Temple, Texas at the time. Oh, yeah. So I was stationed at Fort Hood. And we had this small house, and he took that U-Haul back into that house and started building the business out of that house. And I just told him, just find a warehouse for us to operate out of. So his first task when he got down to Texas was to find a warehouse. And for some reason, I don't know why, I said, just put it in Round Rock, because I knew we couldn't afford Austin. And I didn't want to go around Belton Temple area. And for some reason, Round Rock just sounded good to me. So he found a warehouse in Round Rock, and that's what got us here.
Yeah, because it's kick-ass town. I mean, that's how it works too. They got that big city in Austin, and guys like you go out and we set up shop right on the outskirts of the big city. And we're just far enough out of town to be country, but close enough to town that we can get in there in a hurry. And man, those are the best ones to hang out in. That's kind of where we live too.
Yeah, I mean, we love it. This area is growing like crazy right now, especially as Austin's growing.
Yeah.
And we push north a little bit more in the Georgetown area, but we love it out here.
Y'all still in the same spot as far as just single, or you got any satellite operations going on, or is it still housed out of that one warehouse?
So we outgrew that warehouse in about a year. And then we moved into a new warehouse. So our second warehouse was 10,000 square feet. And then we expanded into the building next to us, which was another 10,000. And then we punched over another 5,000. And now we operate on a 45,000 square feet in a business park in Round Rock.
Damn. Wow.
So is your brother older or younger?
He's younger. He's 3 years younger.
So I was at an event the other day, man. Somebody asked me a question about. I always talk about my brother, especially when he's not there. But this guy's like, man, I got some brothers. I don't ever talk to them. I don't ever talk to them. And I was like, well, why not? Why would you do that? You know, and he tried to tell me something. I was like, ultimately, that's what an excuse is, man. Talk about working with your brother, because with us, man, even if we don't argue anymore, but it's just a different kind of relationship. I mean, it's one of trust. If you come up, I mean, you can go as far as you want with them.
I love it. I mean, when we first got started, I mean, we had no money. We weren't making any money. So it was me and him living in a house together. And we were so passionate about the brand, especially because our last name is attached to the company. So we're also building something out of pride for that name of that company as well. And we were both so invested into what we were building and building it together. And he loves the operations side. I love more of the visionary marketing side. So we both have our lanes and we stay in those lanes. I don't want to run operations. He doesn't want to run the marketing side. So like we've been able to build and scale that in parallel, doing what we love and then also handing off what we don't love. Obviously we've butted heads along the way, but I mean, it's been an epic journey together.
How many employees you guys up to now?
We're at 28 full-time in-house right now.
And sales around the world?
Yeah. Sales around the world. We really started growing. I mean, 2017 was our first year we did 7 figures. And then once COVID hit, I mean, between 2019 and 2020, we grew 400%. And we've just scaled a lot since then, just building out the team and infrastructure.
All right. So I got another question for you. When you set a goal like that, I remember when I came out too, it's not that I had an idea how to transition out, but I did have a goal set in my head of kind of what I was wanting to obtain. That's so important, especially when you visualize it. But man, when you get to it, it seems slow at first, but then once you get there, man, then you keep going, and then you set another one, right? Y'all what's the difference between setting a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and we can get in the way of that? For y'all, I mean, when are you going to stop? What's enough? How many employees? How big you want to raise it before it gets uncomfortable? Right?
Yeah.
Before you're trying to carry, it's almost like you got to re-carry that thing again. Like when you bust past your marker and you're trying to get to those big numbers, man, it's just like relifting it again from the basic beginning because you're starting a new goal.
We're at a point like that right now where there's this book I recently read. It's What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And I mean, I remember early on starting the business, me and my brother were still back in Pennsylvania, and we were selling we were doing maybe 1 to 2 orders every other day. So maybe we were doing 5 to 10 orders a week at the time. And I had $500 probably in the business bank account at this point. And we went to this marketing agency in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And me and my brother walk in there clueless, ignorant to anything business. And we sit at this conference table with this marketing agency. And they said, what are your goals that you want to accomplish while working with us? And I said, if we could do 20 orders a day, I will be happy. That's all I want. And they said, I honestly don't know if we can do that with you guys. I was like, well, shit, like this is your job. Like, this is what you're supposed to be able to do.
Right.
And then, you slowly get these wins as you go. I'm a big fan of, and I talk about him all the time. Tim Grover has this book called Winning. And he talks about just getting your first win. And when you get that first win, doesn't matter what that is. I mean, that could be you run your first mile or you hit a PR in the gym or maybe stop drinking alcohol for a week, like whatever it is. You get that first win, it builds this level of confidence. And in order to get that second win, you know that it will build more confidence. However, it requires more sacrifice. So with every win after that you go after, that win builds more and more confidence, but there's more sacrifice required along the way. And you just get used to as you go of sacrificing more time, energy, money, resources to continue winning. But I mean, it's one of those things, like you set these goals. I mean, I look back at all the goals I've set along the way, and when you set the goal, you set it big, like you set it 10 times larger than you ever think you could achieve. And you think, once I get there, I'm set. I'm gonna chill. And then you finally realize you're approaching that goal, and you already set goals 10 times of where you're already at. And it's not necessarily, I mean, sometimes people look at business and they're like, well, when's enough? When are you going to stop? And it's not generating more revenue, or it's not making more money for a lot of people. I mean, at least for me, it's like you just want to keep seeing what you can do, like what is the potential.
Right.
And that's what keeps me going.
It's almost like it's only sacrifice when you're pulling that energy from the life that you're in. Meaning, once you got your $1 million, you became that level. So it's not, I mean, you're kind of living in it. It goes back. There's a natural balance in there until you jack it back up, and then it ramps back up again. But once you qualify into something, and once you qualify into a goal, just like you just said, man, you change. It's like those people who start college and they finish, man, you're a different person altogether. You learn something. That's the whole point. Like starting off with a white belt, and then when you get your black belt, you are different. When we started training, when you and I, all of us went to the military, shit, bro, from the day you walked in there to the time you rolled out, you was a different human being altogether.
I think a lot of people like the concept of growth. We talk about that here a lot. Is everyone wants to achieve a certain thing, and they romanticize about what that looks like. But by the time you get there or you achieve that, you're not romanticizing about it anymore. It is just like it is what it is. So everyone likes the concept of growth, but they don't like the process of what it takes to go through that growth.
You know what? You said that brilliantly, man. And I never thought about it like that, but it's almost as if the minute you get the idea of something you want to do, the good Lord puts all of what it feels like to actually be it. Right? I mean, you get a feel. I remember wanting to be a Navy SEAL. When he started bringing that up, I felt like one. I was like, dude, you know what? I never even touched it, ran, jumped, or anything like that. Be like, you have it, and it kind of draws you towards it. It's like a magnetism that gets thrown out from the idea and ropes around you. And the more you focus on it, you occupies your mind, man, you get driven towards it. And the minute you start in there and start training in it, that shit goes away, and it's just a kick in the shorts up until the point when you graduate or do whatever, and then you get it back.
Hey guys, let's take a second to thank our great sponsors over at Black Buffalo. If you're 21 or over and you dip or chew tobacco, pouches or long cut, you guys have got to try this tobacco alternative. It's called Black Buffalo, and their flavors are out of this world. Back in the day, whenever I was a firefighter, we found ourselves with a lot of extra time, whether it was at the station cleaning up, washing trucks, rolling hose, things that we do when we've got nothing to do. Sometimes to pass that time, you're chewing some tobacco, you're dipping, and Black Buffalo is everything you love about dipping, including pharmaceutical grade nicotine, just without the actual tobacco leaf or stem. It's dip literally made from edible green leaves and food grade ingredients with the same flavors and texture as traditional tobacco products, no compromise, and Black Buffalo sells products on their website at blackbuffalo.com, and it is available in long cut or pouches, whichever one you like most. And if you're thinking about going nicotine free, then they've got some incredible nicotine free versions called Zero. They've got incredible flavors like wintergreen, mint, straight, peach, and even blood orange. I turned my brother-in-law onto this product. He's a blacksmith in a big Ford shop, and so sometimes he's on a hammer basically 10 hours a day, and he found this to be an incredible product. He loves it more than anything he's ever had. These flavors, seriously, when I tell you the blood orange and the peach flavors are delicious. Like, if they made juice in the flavor of this product, I'd probably drink it. Born in the Midwest, raised in the South, Black Buffalo proudly manufactures their products here in the U.S. for adult U.S. consumers. They're proud supporters of our U.S. military, our veterans, and our first responders, and they're going to hook you guys up with 20% off your first order. Use our promo code TNQ at checkout on blackbuffalo.com if you want to take advantage of that discount. One more time, guys, 20% off your first order on blackbuffalo.com. Use our promo code TNQ. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical intended 21 plus for current adult consumers of nicotine and or tobacco. May not be available in some states.
and but it slowly comes back, and that's the life. I never thought about it like that, but
it allows you to respect that then too. Like you have so much more respect for what it is to then achieve.
Yeah, that's true.
Why fitness? Why'd you get into nutrition? Where'd all that come from?
Yeah, so it was kind of like this evolution. I got into like nutrition when I was in college, and at the time, like training for me was like just getting as big and strong as possible, like just going to the gym and lifting. And for me, I hated anything cardio wise. Like I would avoid cardio at all costs. And obviously we had to run with the military. So like that was my only time I was running. And when I transitioned out of the military in 2017, I told myself, I said, I'm never running a day in my life again.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm no quitter like you two someday.
I was committed. I was like, I'm not ever running. I'm just gonna get as big and strong as possible. And then something about it I missed. I missed just kind of like pushing and something just sucking, because running for me up until that point was just a suffer fest. So I signed up for the Austin Marathon in 2018, and that was my first endurance event, and I suffered through the whole thing. I ran 3 hours, 57 minutes, cramped up the entire way. And then after that, I was like, I'm not running ever again. Then I went back to strength training, and the same thing. It came back. I was like, I got to do this again. So I signed up for the Austin Marathon for the next year. This time I ran it slower. I ran 4 hours and 15 minutes. And I was sitting at about 225, 230 pounds.
How much you weighing when you say you want to get big and strong? What are you talking, like how big are we talking about?
I was like 225, 230 pounds.
Yeah, so what are you shrinking down to when you run?
Right now I'm like 190. Right. And then from that second marathon, I decided to sign up for an Ironman triathlon. And I didn't even know what an Ironman triathlon was when I signed up for it. I just remember seeing these videos on YouTube of, they were like these famous videos from the Kona Ironman in Hawaii of these women crossing the finish line, and their bodies weren't working and they were dragging themselves across. They were collapsing across. So I was like, I'm going to sign up for this, and then I'm going to learn what it is. I'm going to learn how to train for it. And then from that triathlon, it was, well, now I want to run a sub 3 hour marathon. And then I want to run an ultra marathon. And then it was kind of just one thing after another. And, right now I'm in a marathon prep for next weekend. Next weekend, we have the Buffalo, New York marathon. But it was kind of just one after the other to see, how far can I take this? Like, what can I learn through this process?
It does. It feeds itself, right? People always ask this as you get older, like, man, how did you get to this spot? I was like, man, it started with just kind of signing up, showing up. And then once you accomplish one of those things, it's like, well, if this thing can do this, let's see what else it can do.
That's like one of those things. It's, people ask you where you want to be in 5-10 years, right? And you can say where you want to be and what you've done and accomplished, but it's a sum of the choices you make along the way.
Yeah.
That get you somewhere.
Yeah, and the experiences from the priors, man, help guide you. It's like, I've seen that one. I've heard this one. I've seen that movie, heard that line, right? And then the best thing about our generations and the way we're throwing all that stuff together, man, it's just completely rewriting the human dynamic and how far you can push us. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we had Cam Haynes on our podcast this past week. Yeah, man, great dude.
Really good dude. And his mindset applied to that in terms of bow hunting and ultra endurance events it's like the pure example of that.
I missed what he said, dude.
Cameron. Oh, Cameron. Yeah.
I mean, right? Take what you love and go to the max on it. And then throw it on video, man. People will resonate with it just because you're putting out so damn hard. They don't have to do it. Man, if somebody watches you putting out, like really suffering and going through the numbers just to get something done, that's motivating in itself. For sure.
How the hell do you find time to train for an ultra? It's another full-time job and then some, actually.
Yeah, I mean, so for this last ultra prep, I would knock out all my runs before work. So I would do 10 to 12 miles in the morning before getting to the office. I'd get to the office at 8 a.m. And then on the weekends, I'd have my Saturday long runs. I would do anywhere from 20 to 30 miles on a Saturday morning. By the end of it, my wife was done with it. She's 34 weeks pregnant right now.
Oh, well, congratulations.
No, thank you. Yeah, she was done with the ultra. But I mean, it's just a lot of.
But before,
No,
I mean, not now, obviously, but she
no, she's not a runner now. But it's ultra stuff is just a lot of slow aerobic miles, just time on your feet. And
so are you running in August? I mean, are you training when it gets real humid here in Texas? I guess you're still running through all that.
Yeah, I'm still running through all that. There's this saying in terms of running. They say summer miles bring fall smiles, and I mean it directly applies to running here in Texas. I would finish runs, or I'll finish runs here in the morning in Texas, and I mean I'm wringing out my socks and shorts afterwards because they're just drenched. I would lose 10 to 12 pounds on a run.
All right, so I got a question for you. I was a hard gainer growing up. I didn't like being skinny. I wasn't worried about all that six pack and everything like that. I just wanted to be the big guy, just like you said. Going to the gym, lift as much weight as you possibly can, so you can run through that wall. And even when we were in the communities, you had the guys that would run. I mean, you had the triathlete guys and everything in between. If you knowing what you know now about what running does, would you have implemented that on yourself back in the day when you were in, or just it's kind of to each his own? One life fits the other.
I think it's to each its own.
Yeah.
I think there's like what I'm finding more with, endurance training and strength training. Like if I had to recommend one to someone, I would always recommend strength training over endurance training, just for the positive impacts it has on the metabolism, your overall energy, your hormone levels. Running, when you take running to extremes, it does the complete opposite. So I think like for the average person, hit the gym, like hit the weights. It's going to have a much more positive impact on the body as opposed to like this intense endurance training, ultra stuff.
So what's the concept or mindset behind that then? The ultras, just to see how far you can go. I mean, if you've already run through one of the concepts, that's what's left, right?
Yeah. I mean, for
human condition, see how far we can take it.
Yeah. From what I found with running is like running for me, I run in the mornings. I like running in the mornings or the evenings. I don't like running in the midday. And that is that one time of the day for me where it is complete solitude. So like there's no distractions, especially being like a business owner, but everyone, you're on your phone, you have notifications going off, the TV's on, emails. So like my 60 to 90-minute run every single morning is this moment of solitude where I've thought up some of my best business ideas. I've thought of like anything that has positively impacted or affected the business. I've thought of during my morning run, or if I have an issue in my life and something's bothering me, it will find me during that run, and I will be forced to navigate through that issue before that run is over.
Oh yeah,
and that's what I found with running.
It's like a meditation, right? Everyone has their own forms of meditation. I asked my brothers, a couple of the other guys who's still doing the running, man. I was like, it's because like him, he didn't like to run either. But there's a runner's high. That's an actual thing, like where you're pushing yourself and then you transition over your body to where it takes over, and it's a flux stage, right? Where you can just purely concentrate on thinking whatever's in your mind and not your body's not taking the beating anymore. Do you get that?
Yeah, it took me years to achieve that. I used to think that was bullshit.
I was going to ask you, man, is that bullshit or what? I mean, it does happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but it took me literally years to achieve that. I was like, there's no way this thing exists. But what I found I was doing wrong is I was running all my runs way too hard. So like if I was supposed to run a 6-mile run for that day, I was going to run that 6-mile run as hard and fast as possible. And then it wasn't until I started slowing down and running based off of heart rate and effort. It wasn't until I actually found like, oh, this actually can be enjoyable. There is this runner's high. Your mind kind of wonders and thinks, but it's when I run too hard that I don't find this or achieve it.
I've never heard anybody explain it that way, but that's what it is then, huh? If you're trying to tackle it too hard.
Yeah. So it's, I follow this formula. I had this endurance coach who helped me run a whole lot faster. And the concept is, in order to run faster, you got to run slower. So your endurance is built off your aerobic capacity, which is this lower heart rate zone 2 training. So my coach, he would have me wear this chest heart rate monitor that would sync to my watch, and then it would give me real-time data on what my heart rate was at the time. Your body doesn't know pace, it knows effort based off of heart rate. So there's this equation, it's called the MAF 180 formula. You take 180 minus your age. So like I'm 31 years old. 180 minus 31 is 149. 149, it's 149 beats per minute. That should be the highest my heart rate goes on an easy run, because if I keep my heart rate below 149, which is your max aerobic heart rate, it allows your body to be operating in an aerobic zone as opposed to anaerobic. So you're utilizing oxygen efficiently in that state.
Yeah.
We are supported by GoodRx. Some things are inevitable, like allergy season, which is on us hardcore here in Texas. I can't walk out the house with my eyes watering, sneezing like crazy. And while you can't avoid it, you can at least save on your prescription allergy medications by checking out GoodRx. With GoodRx, you can compare prescription prices at over 70,000 pharmacies to help you find the best price, and you can find discounts of up to 80%. This is no joke. I was able to save so much money on my last prescription whenever I went through the HEB pharmacy drive-through. GoodRx is recommended by doctors, pharmacists, and millions of people across the country who have saved on their prescriptions. I've pretty much been telling everybody about this. Obviously, I'm telling you guys. Y'all are listening to the podcast, and all of you guys, I want you to know about it because it's incredible. But I've been telling my mom, my sister, other people on Facebook. I mean, this is one of those sponsors and one of those companies that seriously can save you money. Over 24 million people have used GoodRx just last year to save on their medications, and you can too, whether that's on your allergy meds or other prescriptions. They've got you covered. And remember, even if you have insurance, GoodRx can actually beat your prescription copay price. That's exactly what they did for me. My copay price was actually substantially more than the GoodRx price. For simple, smart savings on your prescriptions, check out GoodRx. Go to GoodRx.com/TNQ. That is GoodRx.com/TNQ. GoodRx.com/TNQ. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, Medicare, and Medicaid. In 2021, GoodRx users.
It's math.
You can dial that in too, right?
Yeah, you can dial that in. I mean, you track that, and you'll see that when you run more below your max aerobic heart rate, you'll be running faster with less effort, and that's how you build endurance. It's how you build speed.
And then if you concentrate on your breathing and the breath count on that, you can actually dial it even better, right?
Oh yeah, like just super controlled. Because you'll see a lot of people when they're running, they like hyperventilate, and I'll pass people running, and I feel like they're about to die. I mean, they're breathing so hard and so heavy.
Right.
You can just naturally just calm down. Like just calm yourself down a little bit. You'll be okay.
Right. No, that's the thing. And that got left out. A lot of stuff when as we were growing up, that would get explained to you. Like the guys were like, hey, this is how you beat your body up. This is how you're going to make your big self being strong. But they don't tell you how to breathe or how to pace yourself inside of that. And that's key, man. I just started shifted over to focusing on that. I got some of those breathing apps and like really focusing on that stuff. Ironically enough, man, being in the SEAL teams underwater all the time, I mean, you have to consciously focus on your breath count. But I never thought about it as it was doing anything good for me. I just thought we were down there kicking it out. But when you focus on that, does your body does it automatically. It breathes for itself. So if you're breathing for your body, what in the hell you think it's doing? Taking a break and fixing something. And you can modulate your heart rate by your breath count.
How hard is it to regulate your breath when you're underwater?
Man, so in the beginning, if
You
you
better.
if you don't have any idea, we got to practice that. We practice that so much. I mean, to where you get it down to where we would sneak up on fish. You know, you tap them on the back.
Well, if you don't do that, you suck your rig down. You can't make it down.
Yeah. And then it's almost just because the body learns. So when you're getting a certain situation, you get into a certain position down there. I remember it would take a minute or so, but it would drop into this breath count to where you would just naturally go.
Plus, the water's so damn cold. So
Right.
heart
Yeah. I
rate
mean, you
down
kind
to
of
the
felt,
30s.
dude, it sucks so bad. But I mean, just like the reason you go off and you take off running is because you're trying to exercise your air capacity. So however you breathe when you're running, if you sit down and do the same thing, breathe like that, it's working your lungs out the same way. And you can pick your heart rate up and you can lower it back down. I mean, I never knew how important that was. You hear it all the time: mind, body, and spirit, man. You train all three of them. If you know training your body physically in the gym does that, what do you think training your mind and spirit does? No one ever puts all three of those together. They usually just train one and the other two learn by default. Some guys like you really concentrate on all three of those and your nutrition. Yeah, that's a different realm altogether.
Oh, I mean, nutrition is that's the meat of it, right? That's where most people get it wrong.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
31, turned 32 this August.
August what?
August 1st.
Hot spot of year. In Texas, is August. I tell people,
that's one thing
don't come visit in August. Too damn hot.
I don't eat like shit. I just eat whatever I want, which is probably the same thing. But I mean, I don't eat fast food or candy or anything like that. But I love to eat.
No, I mean, so do I. I mean, especially being here in Texas, it's like
when I was 31, I would eat double Outback cheese fries, a steak. I couldn't put on weight. I mean, I couldn't gain weight. I couldn't get past 190 until I was 35.
Well, what's most of your diet look like right now?
Chicken, fish, steak, no carbs, no sugar. I
Yeah,
parked on 230. I've parked on 230, and even when we were running ultras, I couldn't come. I barely would get off 230.
That's I'm up 228. My weight. It fluctuates with the season.
He's like 248, really. But
Rip it off, man. Come on, show it.
Get
I mean, I could easily get to 230 again. I mean, I can eat. For me to stay around 190, it's a combination of training and I'm going into this next race leaner to be faster. But
what do you like running at?
210 pounds, like 210, 215. That's
perfect weight, right? 210.
That feels good. I'm 6 foot.
Okay. Yeah, that's good, man. That 210 weight, that's like
I feel healthier at that weight.
What's that?
I feel healthier at that weight. I feel stronger. Not as fast, but
drink alcohol.
Yeah, I drink. Going into a race like this, I'm not drinking as much, but when my wife's not pregnant, we like going to dinner and having some drinks and socializing with friends. But I only really ever eliminate alcohol out of my diet when I'm pretty close to a race.
Yeah, that's why stuff's there, man. It's good for you.
Now, when you started the supplements business, I mean, that's like one of the most saturated industries. So you got to kind of go into that knowing like, okay, this is going to be tough. And I know that one of your first goals was to hit $1 million in revenue. When you didn't achieve that, what kept you from slipping and deciding to quit or give up or move on to something else?
Yeah, this is one of those questions that I get asked all the time. And looking back, I think one of the things that kept me going so much is that I was ignorant when I was younger to the risks that I was taking. So like if I were to start that same business when I was, now 31, I'd be more aware of the risks that I was taking and how competitive it was. But back then when I was younger, 2012, I was so ignorant to how hard it was going to be that I was like, well, yeah, I can do this. And then along the way, this first 3-4 years when I saw literally 0 wins, I was just so passionate about it. And I think that's what kept me going in. Like, I loved that space so much. I went into the supplement industry, not because I thought I'd be able to make $1 million, even though I wanted to. It was because I loved that space. And like, even before I launched the company, for example, I was in my college dorm room. And what I would do is I'd buy these ingredients in bulk. So I'd buy like caffeine and beta alanine and creatine in bulk. And then I'd mix them up in my dorm room, and I'd have this scale that I got at Walmart, and I weigh out these ingredients and I put them in baggies, and I'd sell those baggies to people on the floor of my dorm. So it looked like when I was in college, I was dealing drugs out of my.
I was about to say, dude, so you're that guy. I always heard that when we were in teams and in college. Like, hey man, what are you drinking that protein? And they're like, some guy could be making that in his damn dorm room for all you know.
It's that guy.
That's this guy.
That was me. Yeah. And the thing is,
congratulations, man, you did a good job.
Yeah, well, I couldn't afford a scale that measured in milligrams. So like, caffeine, for example, if I'm measuring out caffeine, I wanted 200 to 300 milligrams. My scale wouldn't register until it hit either 1 or 2 grams.
Right.
So like I'd be giving people these pre-workouts. It's probably like 1,000 milligrams of caffeine in one of those servings. But that's where it started. Is like I loved the space, and then that passion just I saw an opportunity when I could take out this loan. It's like why not? Why not me?
Yeah. That's awesome. So, I mean, the caveat to that is the passion that drove you in the beginning. If it keeps you in there long enough, it turns into a love of the game, right? Just doing it. And then it becomes what you are.
It becomes an obsession. I think that's like what a lot of people find is sometimes you're lucky enough to be able to obsess on something that you're passionate about that you can turn into a career or a job. And I was so obsessed with seeing the company succeed and grow that there was never a choice of just to stop. I mean, I remember doing my taxes. I think this was probably like 2016. I was doing my taxes, and I was doing my taxes while I was in Korea, and the accountant told me you should probably close this business down because it's making you zero money. And for a second, I almost believed him. It's like, oh, if this professional is telling me close this business down, maybe I should. But then I just doubled down and I was like, nope, I'm going to see where I can take this. And a year later, I just stuck it out for one more year. Then we finally started seeing a little bit of traction.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a little bit of luck here and there, but it's just compounded consistency. That's one thing that I'd say I've been good at along the way is I've just been consistent, super consistent. And I think when you're consistent enough over time, that compounds. And sometimes that compounding consistency takes like years and years and years to finally just peak through. And then when you finally see it peak through, that's that win where you build this confidence and it's all right. Now we finally have some momentum going 4 or 5 years in. Here it finally is.
Yeah.
Let's take a second to talk about our sponsors over at Navy Federal Credit Union. I'm going to take you guys back for a second, painting a picture. Pre-COVID, I signed on a contract to have a home built, and the experience can be extremely daunting. There is so much to learn if you've never bought a house before. I'd say even if you're a seasoned pro and you've bought multiple houses, there's a lot that goes into it. The amount of money you need, the amount of job, records from your last job, and there's just so much paperwork. I cannot tell you how many documents I had to upload and all the things I had to sign. It was pretty crazy. Navy Federal Credit Union is there to help their military members and their families tackle home ownership. We know there's a lot of veterans out there, military members out there who want to buy a home, who've got incredible benefits to use, but they're just overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. Navy Federal offers mortgage options with 0 down payment, so you don't need to wait years to save. They will help you out. They offer mortgage options that don't require a private mortgage.
Okay, good. Because I'm coming up on, I don't count COVID, but I started the company back in 19 and we're just finally starting to catch a lick. Like I still don't take a salary. We're like right there. I have employees that I pay, but I can't afford to take anything. And I'm just waiting for that one day.
How did the beginning days affect your personal life? Because for a while there, you weren't focused on anything but the business, right? There wasn't time for anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it was years. Like literally for years, it was just that's all I would focus on. That's all I cared about. Like, I was building the business in the evenings when I was in the military and on the weekends. So like I was just trying to figure stuff out and just learn anything, like taking courses online for marketing and watching videos on how to edit like labels or use Photoshop and all this stuff. And I couldn't afford any employees early on. So I became like this Swiss Army pocket knife of just doing a little bit of everything and just figuring out like what I had to do to fix a solution or grow one part of the business. So they say entrepreneurship is lonely. And it is in a sense, like, because you have to hyper focus and prioritize and eliminate what's not a priority. And for the longest time, it was just, I was so tunnel vision focused on what I was doing when I was building, that's all I really like. That's all I cared about was in my free time. This is what I'm going to do with all my free time until I see some sort of bump from it.
Oh, I got one for you. Was the moment like you thought it was going to be?
No. So
yeah, I mean, did you even get to rejoice about when you hit your mark, or did you just blow past it and be like,
just kept blowing past it. Like I remember getting out of the military and getting my DD 214, and that same day getting a call from my accountant because we finally started making some money. He's like, "Hey, your business taxes are this much this year," which at the time, like, they weren't that much, but they were a lot more than I could afford. And I was like, shit, here's like this. All right, I'm going full time to be an entrepreneur to hit with this massive tax bill of welcome to entrepreneur life.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks whenever you get that tax bill. It's more than what you've even taken out for yourself out of the business. It's like, wait a second, I don't even make this much money.
And we'll get to like these milestones, and it's like a small celebration, like very quickly celebrate, and then it's back to it because nothing stops. You almost
got to program that in there.
Yeah, you do. You do.
It's like, hey man, when you hit those marks, because that was huge. That mark you hit, you set that coming from nothing, and then all those years, and I've done that for myself too. And then when you hit them, it's like, oh yeah, all right, and then you kind of keep going because you get so consolidated into that. It's almost as if you got to plan that party into that number. It's like, not only when we hit this number, this is how we're going to celebrate. You got me? We're going to leave out of here and just so we'll remember it. Otherwise, you can get tunnel vision into it and you lose the point. Like, what's the point in working that hard when you don't even? Then it just becomes work.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's important to like celebrate the people that have helped you get there at that point. Like, celebration isn't for yourself. It's like for all the other people that helped you get there.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd already been there.
Right. Yeah.
If you're not backing them up, I remind them of that. I mean, we pick on this dude over here with the headphones like can't believe. But every now and again, I'll remind him how important he is. I don't want to tell him too much, man, because we don't really like him that much. But you know what I'm talking about? You back there?
But we don't know how to work the machine.
Yeah, man, you got it, man. You got to tell him, let him know. Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
thanks, bro. Thanks, bro.
So what's next, man? I mean, seems like you're killing it. So what's on the horizon?
I mean, so right now we got this this marathon this weekend. It's like everything we do, like we'll do these races, but the goal, like with these races, I think a lot of people think it's this like selfish physical accomplishment that like our team wants to do, but we use these races to like educate people and help them achieve their goal as well. So we just documented this entire marathon prep, and the goal with the marathon prep was someone should be able to watch a series and PR their next race. So we're wrapping up that series this weekend in Buffalo, New York. And then our first baby girl is due the first week in July.
Yeah, what's up? Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. We're super excited.
This is the first one or first girl?
That's the first one.
Ooh, hey,
are you ready?
You about to shift gears, homie. I got another one for you. Just before you get beat up with the whole kid situation, you're the best marketing thing they got. I mean, ultimately, if you take your nutrition and that's the fuel you run on, and then it gives you the capability of running all these marathons and doing all this stuff. By the time you're done, and you'd be like, "Hey, you want to know what it takes to run this machine?" Boom. There's no doubt in that. I mean, everyone in this competition who's running like you are on the same performance stuff, man, are they actually running like you are? Because you're running on your own formula, and it's producing. You can't buy that, man. You can't teach that. That's the proof's in it. So good job on that, man.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm super excited for this next chapter of life with me and my wife are super excited for this baby girl. I wanted a girl.
Yeah. Oh, they change everything. I was the same way. They bring some balance, levity. My brother didn't get one. That's why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
I got a daughter would. So he does have a niece.
Which I'm totally excited about.
Yeah. Daughters are different. I got me one of them. All right, man. I tell you what, man. How can people reach out, follow you, find you, keep track of you? Well, we're going to do what we can to make sure everyone knows about you. So if you could just give us a lead on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate it. I run a podcast called the Bear Performance Podcast. My website is Bear Performance Nutrition at bpnsubs.com. And then I'm on Instagram, Nick Bear Fitness, and then YouTube. If you just type in Nick Bear, we got like 700 plus videos over the last, 8 years of my life. So it's all out there.
And I'm gonna need some sort of supplement that makes me lose weight just without doing anything. So figure that one out for me, and we'll go from there.
Next on the list.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Hey, you have one piece of never quit advice or wisdom that you'd like to leave with the listeners?
Yeah. So, our tagline, our motto here at BPN is go on more. And the story behind it is I was training for my second marathon in 2018. And I had this training run one day, and there were 18 miles on the training run. And I got to mile 10, and I was running downtown Austin. I was sucking. I stopped running, and I considered just walking back to the house and stopping that day. But I had some serious negative self-talk with myself and ended up running 19 miles. So I went one more than I was supposed to. And I came back and I wrote one more on the bill of my hat. And I just took a picture of it and I posted it online. Not much context to it, just that. And over the next couple of days, I realized it struck a nerve in a lot of people's minds because people started writing one more on the bill of their hat and posting it online. So then one more kind of evolved into go one more. And now we have thousands of people that have this tattooed on their body, and it's changed a lot of people's lives. And the intent behind
What's that like? Hell, that's a whole different conversation altogether. I'm sorry.
You'll put it on you.
Yeah, they could put that on you.
Yeah. But the intent behind it wasn't like to do one more rep in the gym or one more mile on a run that day. It's applying it to everything you do in your life, where when you want to quit and when you don't want to keep building that business or keep training or accomplish that goal, it's you just show up and you just keep going. You just keep pushing. It's one day after another after another. Next thing you know, you're 10 years in and you finally have pushed past that goal that you set, 10 years ago. So applying the go one more mindset is it's changed my life, and it's changed a lot of other people's lives that follow me in the brand too.
That's awesome. Keep doing it, brother, man. You're impacting a lot of lives, including us, man. We got a file on you. Welcome to the team, bro. Thanks for your service.